Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Possibilities podcast with myself, Hank Setala, and the one, the only Heather MacMillian, certified facilitator of access consciousness and talk to the entities, which is what today is all about: entities, awareness, and money. Oh my.
Ooh, baby.
Because truly, like when you have an awareness of entities and how they can contribute to you, it is a game changer, not just for money, but for everything. And we had the call, or a special class with Heather a couple of weeks ago with creating with entities. And tonight we have money with entities. And we thought that's a great topic for today, just kind of talk a little bit about how one's awareness with the unseen world and the willingness to receive can really change how things show up for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's just such a fun playground of possibilities.
Yep. Speaking of possibility, Mike's joining us saying, how does it get better
Hey.
than that? Thank you, Magic Mike, for joining us. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And it's really great. And I don't even know where to start. Maybe just for people who might be seeing us for the first time, a real brief thing. What is access consciousness and what is talk to
Mhm.
the entities, which is like a specialty class of access?
Well, access consciousness is an amazing set of tools and processes and techniques to create a phenomenal life that works for you.
Yeah, in fact, the mantra of access is all of life comes to us with
Yeah.
ease and joy and glory, which means the good, the bad, the ugly, no matter what shows up, with these tools, everything could be with ease, joy, and glory. And in that space, what else is possible where you could take something that maybe isn't preferred and really cultivate change and make it into a possibility?
I know, exactly. It's this place where we go to a conclusion of like, this isn't working, that, we're not allowing the possibilities instead of asking a question like, okay, well, what else is possible here?
Now, Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. His daughter, Shannon O'Hara, or I think stepdaughter actually, but anyway, she was like a natural at talking to entities growing up, and she even has a book called Talk to the Entities, which in and of itself is great. But she's created this entire subset of classes under Access Consciousness, all about Talk to the Entities, which uses the same modern day dynamic tools of access with kind of a spin to really create and touch base with entities. And it's just like, especially being a classically trained medium from Lilydale, not that I'm from Lilydale, but I trained at Lilydale. Like it was like a lot of tools that even though I had years of training and everything, it really upped my game in terms of spirit communication. And just throwing this out for everyone, you do not have to do this professionally to talk to the unseen world. There is, little things like making sure you get a parking spot at a busy place, like little things you can ask the unseen world for and actualize in your life. And you don't have to be doing it professionally, but when you have the tools, you can use them for anything in your life, even if you're not being out there, in the public eye doing it professionally.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that I love about these tools of talk to the entities, this whole, you know, um, realm of talk to the entities, is that anyone, anyone can learn this. You can learn these tools and you can engage in the four ways that we talk about and talk to the entities with the spirit world, which is clearing, communicating, receiving, and cooperating. Which, if you've taken Talk to the Entities beginning before, there's been some new fun content added around cooperation. But what if this is possible and available to everyone? And that's what's so amazing about Access Consciousness and Talk to the Entities, is that it's designed to empower you to know what you know instead of having to turn to someone else for what they know.
And that is such an important thing because just this last even over the last week or several times recently, there's been situations where there's a question involved, and where we're operating from was from other people's projections or different things like that. And we would often go back to the question, well, what is it that I truly know here? And like going back to
Yeah.
the knowing, because we oftentimes get caught up in the projections from other people, their conclusions, their definitions of how they're looking at a situation, and forgetting to ask ourselves, because we are infinite beings, we have the ability to perceive, know, be, and receive, and all it takes is asking a question: what do I truly know about this? And settling into it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah. Magic Mike was just saying tonight. What's going on tonight? That is, since you're asking, we'll talk about it now. Like we have a class tonight. It's at 7 o'clock, and it is called Money and Entities, which is a little bit of the inspiration for the topic today. Because
Yeah.
like money and entities, like I've talked about this story on air several times now, but there however many times is a charm. I was going to Buffalo. I had a class that hadn't been filled. I had all these entities that really wanted to be at my sound bath, and I used a tool from Talk to the Entities. Well, if you would like to be at the sound bath, please bring me a body with money. And by the time I drove from Cleveland to Buffalo, the class had sold out, and we had added a second sound bath. So there's like different tools like that, being in the question, having the awareness, being willing to receive, really the combination for success, right? That you can really create
Yay.
a lot of change in your life, and not just if you're self-employed. I won't mention names. There was somebody that just told me recently they had wanted to take a lot of classes, and they told the universe, "Hey, universe, if I'm really supposed to take these classes, you got to show me the money." And lo and behold, a check shows up in the mail from an account with an overpayment, and all of a sudden the money is there to take the classes. So really, like asking the question, making a demand of the universe is huge, and that includes making a demand potentially of an entity and cooperating in order to create something more.
Yeah, totally. And I love that example with the classes. Like I play with that all the time. And then I would add a little extra piece to that, which is the honoring piece, like honoring that you asked, you received, and now, using that, choosing what you said you were going to use it for is just an honoring all around. And then the gratitude that we can be, that can just expand possibilities. I mean, this is just so much fun to play with. I'm so excited for where we can go tonight with this class.
Oh, definitely. And Mike was just saying, what, which means if you're not familiar with FS, that stands for
What?
what else is possible, which is like there's like 5 words that you try to avoid in Access, one of which is the word why. Because like, why can't I take the class? Why can't I create the money that I need for this or that? Why is a looping question, we say, and it like loops you back into another experience of the universe saying, here's another example of why, right? But when you're stuck in something like that, what Mike brings up is a great tool to smash out of that cycle. What else is possible here? You're asking the universe, instead of why and repeating something, what is a new possibility around this? And that's one of the, I have a lot of favorite tools in Access, but that is a great one. If you find yourself one of those why people, start, instead of saying why, asking what else is possible, and watch how fast your life changes. In fact, Valerie is just checking in. She's been watching our
Hey.
streams for a couple months now. And I remember one of the comments she made on one of the Facebook posts that she had started using that tool and had started to see massive change starting to occur in her life. So it doesn't take long. All it takes is really
Yeah.
the willingness to, have the benefit of the doubt if you're a doubter or whatever, ask the questions anyway, and based on your own experience, see what happens. And it doesn't hurt you to ask a question, right? At least I don't think it's ever hurt anybody to ask a question. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh. Yeah, because a question always empowers, an answer or a conclusion always disempowers. I mean, the conclusion, I can't afford this. That's like a huge conclusion. Like we've all gone there. We've all done that. Or I can't have this. Like the second you go to those conclusions, you've just cut off all the possibilities, all the magic, all the contribution of the universe.
Years ago, actually, if I think for my first foundation, like I didn't know like how I was going to pay for it. It was with you, and I just signed up for it. I'm like, universe, it's going to happen, And I think I don't remember exactly what happened because I have a web store. I don't know if I had a class or anything like that, but the money for foundation actualized for me very fast after I signed up. And the
Mhm.
same thing a couple years before that, when I went to go to Lilydale for 2 years, I had that's like several thousands of dollars over a 2 year period. And I signed up for it having no clue how I was going to pay for it, but the money showed up. And, so that's like one thing, that actions speak louder than words sometimes. And if you would like to actualize something, sign up for it, and then see the universe is seeing that as, hey, you're choosing this. And typically the only
Mhm.
answer the universe has is yes, though you need to do your part, right? So
Yeah.
like after you put it out there, you ask, what energy could I be to help the universe along in creating this for me, and follow the energy.
Yeah, I mean, that's where like the awareness piece comes in. Like you hear that whisper of like, oh, maybe I should call this person, or, even something totally random like, oh, maybe I should go for a walk right now. I mean, go with that. Like, how much do we invalidate our own awareness?
Another example, just entity related also, I was at a festival a couple weekends ago, and in the morning while other people are going around to the festival like connecting with people, I hear Heather's voice in my head because I just had the other class, the creation with entities class, and I hear your voice in my head saying there's a lot of entities here without bodies, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go network with the entities out of body. And there was like a lot that was created because of that, because I asked that question, I followed my awareness, I went to different sites on the land that had all these amazing energies and potencies for me to do some creation work in some of the other areas of my business and things. And it was phenomenal. But it all started with a nudge from you, from your consciousness saying, use the tools I just taught you. And then listening to that and following that impulse of consciousness to where I needed to go and follow the energy. Any advice for that? Because like when we're talking about following the energy, some people might be like, what does that mean? Like, do you have any examples maybe of people asking a question and then following the energy of how that shows up?
Well, I mean, I love that kind of networking. First of all, that is so cool. Like that's very cool. And asking a question and following the energy. I mean, uh, what if you're looking to add some fun people to your life? You could ask, where do I need to be and when do I need to be there to add more fun people to my life? I mean, that's a great question to play with. That was something that I've been playing with a lot, and then I just kind of get a hit to just go out and sit somewhere, and then I'll end up talking to someone. It's really fun. Like, play with that in an airport or wherever you go, of like, where do I need to go right now? Like, where would be the most fun place to sit?
Ooh, that's a fun question too. And then one I just thought of, it's actually in the BARS manual. Gary Douglas, when he started Access, he asked a question, what would I
Yeah.
like my life to look like? And then he had somebody request for him to do channeling for a massage therapist. And he was in the awareness that that request of him matched the energy of him asking, what would I like my life to look like? So sometimes
Yeah.
it's just a matter of being aware of that subtle energy of like seeing that this question matches this opportunity and then connecting the dot. And if you don't feel that, then just practice. Or another tool in Access is ask, well, if I choose this, how does my life feel in 5 years? Or how does my,
Yes, what will
you
my
know,
life be like in 5 years? Yeah, I
yeah,
love
and
that one.
right, that's how Heather found Access. She's told the story before, because Dr. Dain did like a radio program and gave that tool, and that's like, well, how does my life feel like in 5 years if I take this class? And that's a good question for everybody on this call, like because I'm a little bit biased because I'm a medium and everything, and I'm big into Access, but Talk to the Entities is by far my favorite specialty class of Access. And I feel that working with entities has helped me pay for a lot of other things that I would like to
Mhm.
do. So, like, I think the class has the potential, if you use all the tools, to pay for itself. But it really ask the question, like, what does my life feel like in 5 years if I take like tonight's class, or if I take the beginning class, which is like a 2 day super deep dive into all the tools, and really get a sense of what's going to create more in your world. And you could use that for everything. Gary says use it for everything, even choosing if you're going to chew a stick of gum. And Dave
Exactly.
and Dave gave him a hard time for that, but Gary's like, well, what if you're going to choke on that gum? Like then that's going to feel heavy.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have the gum. so so there's that. We have a question about entities. The mysterious Facebook user from one of the groups was asking, how do you deal with fear over negative interactions with entities? I'm sure this is something that comes up a lot in your classes.
This does absolutely come up in any conversation with entities. And there's so many amazing tools in Talk to the Entities to handle fear of entities. And one tool that I would like to point out that's easy to talk about here on the live stream is, what if your point of view creates your reality, not the other way around? So if you have the point of view that maybe you bought it from movies or from media or books or whatever, that spirits are, dangerous or scary or whatever your point of view or your judgment is, that's exactly how they're going to show up for you. And that point of view will actually put blinders on to all the entities that perhaps desire to contribute to your money flows or to your business, or to you having more possibilities in life. So, a lot of what we cover in the Talk to the Entities classes is facilitation around, well, what if we could change this point of view? what point of view could you have around entities that would open the door to something greater? So anything that creates any and all of us having fear of entities, can we just destroy and uncreate all of that and everything holding that in place?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And those weird, wild words are the access consciousness clearing statement.
They are. And in the link to this video, there is a link to the Access Consciousness website where there's a video by Dr. Dain Heer that takes like he has a little, it's a brief video that really explains it in great detail, far greater than what we could get into in just
Oh,
a
yeah.
nutshell on this. I thought there was one of the top 10 things, but I don't find it now. Oh,
On fear,
oh,
on
oh,
fear
oh,
of entities.
oh no, I found it. Well, if you guys go to the last stream that we did, we had like the top 10 most confused truths. And this actually is one of the
That was
truths.
so
And here it
fun.
is. It
Yeah.
says, if you think entities are wrong and scary, that's how they will show up to you. And that just speaks to Heather's point that, your point of view does create your reality. And what would it take to change your point of view so that you have more ease, joy, glory, and money around entities?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and I see that it's Amber. Amber's catching a lot of our streams too. She thought she fixed the Facebook
Hey.
thing, but I'm so grateful that you chose to show up for our stream, Amber. Thank you so much. I thank all of you for showing up. I know not everybody
Yeah.
always likes to comment and throw. You don't want anybody knowing that you're watching the crazy people again, right? But but really, we so appreciate everybody who chooses to tune in and watch the content. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And we
Yeah.
also invite you to be a contribution. Share the videos and things like that for the people who don't mind, who you think are crazy, right? But if they think you're crazy, the damage is already done, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, any other questions out there? Amber, you asked a great question that opened up. That's really the thing about access is the classes, they're created by the people that show up. And the questions that
Mhm.
they ask from the class, like the last class that I took with Heather with the creation of entities, somebody asked one question that led on this whole exercise that
Yeah.
I never
Woo.
heard Heather ever do anything like that before. And it was like life changing for me. And it opened up so many doors like
Thank
the next
you.
day. So like if you show up like for any of the classes, like I would encourage you to be brave and honor yourself by asking the questions that you know are going to create the most for you. And even on the
Yeah.
stream right now, ask the questions. If you have a question, ask the question that you know, like if you had like more awareness around it. I'm not saying
Mhm.
answer notice. If you have more awareness around it, it might just shift your entire reality with how you perceive, know, be, and receive the world around you. So ask
Yeah.
away if you have questions. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can still ask. Tag me and or Heather though, because we sometimes lose the questions because we're streaming to more than 8 destinations right now, and we don't always see all the comments. So if you make a comment on the replay, please tag one of us, and we'll be sure to answer it. Or we might create a whole live stream around your question.
I know. I know. Hmm.
Okay,
So
so
we've got another minute to go.
no, well, that's why I was just kind of shifting gears. I want to make sure people are aware, like the link that you see below us, emergenceofbeing.com/possibility, that has 6 classes, all of which are coming up with Heather. One of which is tonight, which is money and entities. And then we have,
Woohoo.
I don't have a thing for the bars class, so I'll just show this one, but we have access bars on October 29th with Heather, which is a Friday, because it's a prerequisite
Mhm.
for the Talk to the Entities. We have the beginning class, which I like this little thing here. And then we
Yeah.
have the beginning class. Oh, wait, beginning class. Then we have the day after that, we have the facelift class. And on
Oh,
Saturday,
juicy.
and then on Saturday night, on October 30th, we have this class, which this is all you get is the title Destruction and
Yep.
Elimination of
Would your
All
body like it?
Corporations.
Yes or no?
Yeah, just ask your body. Body, would this be a contribution to you? But this is a body process that, like, it has no prerequisite. You can take it and you learn how to do these energy flows, and then you have the ability to add that forever. So even if you're a healer, or even if you're not, if it's just something that that would be a contribution for someone in your family or whatnot, that is a great class. There's no description other than that.
Nope.
And
You'll get to swap the body process, and we'll go through a little manuals, some talk about bodies and stuff like that. But it's just really 3 hours of delicious, you know, energy to contribute to your body.
Yeah. So I would ask the question, if choosing any of these classes 5 years from now, how does your life feel? And that is my guiding compass for choosing anything and everything that I choose to take, or even books to read, music to listen to. You could literally ask
Gum
it
to
for
chew.
anything. Yeah, come to chew. Like if you ask that for literally every choice that you made throughout the day, what would your life look like? Because everything that doesn't
Yeah.
serve the question of, what would your life like to look like? I can't talk. What would you like your life to look like? Will this class be a contribution? How does that feel 5 years from now? That's really the recipe. Now, Amber did make another comment, but I know with we're already past a minute now. We probably don't have time for it, but Amber, we can take the question and sidebar it, and we can create maybe a little bit of content on our next stream, a little bit more, taking a deep
What's
dive
the
into that.
question? What's the question?
Okay, well, it's more a statement, but I think she wants something around it. So her question, it's telling us where her point of view came from, the fear base.
Ah,
My point of view, I'll click it because I can put it up. My point of view came from personal experience. I guess I view entities as covering good and bad and everything in between, and they show up that way. I have two in my house that make me feel good, and one that scares me. I was also pulled down a flight of steps before.
yeah. So there's a lot of what we talk about in the beginning class that covers a lot of aspects of that. And another tool from Access Consciousness that can be a contribution with all of this is the 4 questions. And if you've watched our streams before, I love to mention these. They're in the Access Bars class. It's, what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it?
Yeah, and that's for anything that shows up in your life, a
Anything,
scary
anything.
entity, a problem in business, a problem in love, like whatever's showing up, you can ask
Yeah,
those questions. And that's really good too, because what is this? Is kind of like, well, what do I really know about this? Because oftentimes
yeah,
what shows up, we might be thinking it's one thing, but it's really something else. And clarity really can give us a lot of more ease in making choices around things.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yay.
Awesome.
So come play.
Yeah, come play. How much fun could it be? But anyway, thank you all for choosing to
Thank
watch
you.
us. Please be a contribution to the contagion of consciousness and take a moment to be
Woo.
the invitation and share this video with your family, friends, or your enemies. Maybe you send it to them, like, yeah, they won't know what hit them, when they see these two crazy people. Anyway, thank you so much. We will catch you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.